Good afternoon, Mr. Chair. We are good to go.
Thank you, Mr. Hewitt. Well, good afternoon, everyone. I'm Deputy Mayor Tom Hutchison and Chair of the Adjustment Committee meeting. Item number 1 is calling the meeting to order. I show 103 on my desktop here. First off, happy Valentine's Day to everyone. This is the February 14th, 2022 Committee of Adjustment meeting. We do have quorum, as indicated by the committee members' login. And for this meeting, we're using both audio and video. This meeting is being recorded and will be posted on the West Grey website at www.westgrey.com. The technology for this meeting is being managed by the West Grey staff. Please refrain from clicking buttons throughout the meeting unless prompted. Before we continue, I'm asking Corporate and Community Initiatives Officer Cody Hewlett to provide an overview of some of the other key points for this meeting. Mr. Hewlett.
Thank you. And through you, before I begin, if at any point you get disconnected, you can dial 1-647-558-0588 and enter the meeting ID for this meeting, which is 871-5038-0700. Both members of committee and staff have been briefed on the various features of the Zoom meeting software and were raising their hands physically on camera to speak. It should be noted for members of the public that this meeting is being held in 2 locations, both on Zoom as well as being live streamed on YouTube. Any public participation, if any, must be done through the Zoom meeting platform and cannot be done through YouTube at this time. For members of the public, if you require any technical assistance throughout the duration of the meeting, you can send a chat message to myself, Cody Hewlett, Corporate and Community Initiatives Officer, and I will attempt to assist you. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Hewlett. That moves us to item number 2 on the agenda, the purpose of the meeting. Clerk Jarbeck, please provide your comments.
Good afternoon. Through you, Chair. The purpose of this meeting is to allow the presentation of an application for a minor variance and applications for consents to sever, and to allow interested members of the public the opportunity to ask questions or offer comments with regard to the applications. A public registry for each application is available by email to khewlett, so that's KHEWLETT @westgrey.com. And if any member of the public would like to be notified in writing of the decision on this application, they are to provide their name and mailing address for the corresponding registry. This will also entitle one to be advised of a possible Ontario Land Tribunal hearing in the event the decision on the application is appealed. Thank you.
Thank you, Clerk Jarbeck. Item number 3 on today's agenda is disclosure of pecuniary interest or general nature thereof. And committee members, do you have anything to declare at this time? And if one should arise during the meeting, as we're all well aware, we can raise our hand at that time. Seeing none, we will move on to item number 4. That's the approval of the minutes. 4.1 is the minutes from the January 31st, 2022 Committee of Adjustment meeting. Clerk Jarbeck, could you read the recommendation, please?
Chair, the recommendation is that the Committee of Adjustment approves the minutes of January 31st, 2022 as circulated.
Thank you, Clerk Jarbeck. Could I get a mover for those minutes, please? And I do see Member Robinson as a mover. Thank you. And Member Hurd as a seconder. Thank you. Okay, is there any comments or questions on the minutes? Okay, seeing none, we'll call the question. All those in favor, you just raise your hand, please. And I do see all members of the committee are in favor. None opposed. That motion is carried. Okay, so that'll move us on to item number 5, minor variance, application number A01-2022-563498, Glenelg, Holland, Town Line. 5.1, application number A01-2022, Sandra Boardman and Martin Greer. 5.2 is Planner Spencer's report. And Planner Spencer, if you could read the recommendation for A01-2022, including written comments received under 5.3, including the 5.3.1 SBCA and any other correspondence you may have received. And once we get that recommendation presented by the planner, we'll be looking for a mover and a seconder. Thank you.
Thank you. And through you, Mr. Chair, The recommendation is the Committee of Adjustment receive report from Planner Spencer A01-2022, Boardman Sandra and Greer Martin, wherein the planner recommends approval of application A01-2022 as the application is considered to maintain the general intent and purpose of the official plan, the general intent and purpose of the municipality zoning bylaw is considered to be minor in nature and a desirable use of the land and buildings. The property is located at 563-498 Glenelg Holland Town Line within the geographic township of Glenelg. The purpose of this application is to vary the provisions of sections 6.12A and 6.12B to permit the placement of an accessory structure within a defined front yard, the effect of which will permit the construction of this accessory structure. Comments have been received related to the application from the County of Grey and the Saugeen Valley Conservation Authority, neither of which had concerns relative to the subject application. No other comments were received in written format or verbally at this point in time. I'm happy to clarify further if anyone else has any questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Planner Spencer. Can I get a mover to receive Planner Spencer's report, please? And I do see Member Townsend's hand up. Are you moving that?
Yes, I am.
Okay, thank you. And I'm looking for a seconder, please. And I do see Member Robinson's hand up. Member Robinson, are you seconding that?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Clerk Sharbeck, could you read the, or actually, comments or questions on the, we'll go to Planner Spencer to read the recommendation, please. Sorry.
Thank you, through you, Mr. Chair. Again, the recommendation is the committee receive the report from Planner Spencer A01-2022 for Boardman Sandra and Greer Martin, wherein the planner recommends approval of the application A01-2022 as the application is considered to maintain the general intent and purpose of the official plan. The general intent and purpose of the municipality zoning bylaw is minor in nature and a desirable use of the land and buildings. Thank you.
Thank you, Planner Spencer. Comments or questions on the recommendation? And we will be going into comment period. I was just going to get this to receive passed. Okay, call Member Townsend. We're going into our comment period. Is there something directly related to the recommendation on the table?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. On page 14 of our package, and that's the numbered pages, the mapping shows a temporary structure in the layout, and I'm assuming that temporary structure is what is being replaced. Are you able to confirm that?
Planner Spencer?
Yes, thank you, through you, Mr. Chair. That is correct. This will be a permanent structure that will replace the existing temporary structure located on the property at this time.
Okay, on page 26, as part of the SVCA permission for development or alteration, the very last paragraph talks about, sorry, the first paragraph, the last line, talks about whether or not there's a requirement for a visit and a permit. And then the next paragraph talks about future development. So I wasn't sure whether or not that visit and permit was required for the current or was meant to relate to the future development, but it seems to be in two distinct paragraphs, which is why I phrased the question that way.
Planner Spencer?
Yes, thank you, and through you, Mr. Chair. There are certainly two very different comments. The first being that there is a screening process required as part of any building permit application that would be provided to the landowner on a building permit process. That screening area is determined and a permit is required, which is considered applicable law to obtain a building code. The other comments are relative to provincial policies, and if there was development to occur on other areas of the property in a more extensive format, they may be in a position where an environmental impact study would be required, but not as part of this application. They're simply asking for confirmation that they screen the property in that specific location to ensure a permit isn't required from SVCA as part of the permit process.
Thank you very much. That's all my questions, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Member Townsend. Is there any comments or questions on the recommendation to receive Planner Spencer's report at this time? If not, we'll call the vote to receive the report. All those in favor, raise your hand. I see all members are in favor to receive the report. None opposed. That motion's carried. That takes us to 5.4. That's the verbal comments. 5.4.1 is the committee members' comments. And this is your opportunity, committee members, to ask any questions or insert any comments you may have regarding the report. Is there any comments or questions? Member Herger, I don't know if your hand's up or... Okay, I'm sorry. I see it kind of like that, so that's fine. Thank you. Seeing no comments or questions from the committee members, we will move on to 5.4.2, and this is the public comments. And there's two parts of this part of the meeting. First one would be to speak in favor of the application, and that would be followed secondly by anyone that would like to speak against or is opposed to the application. And I will go to Mr. Hewlett to provide the members of the public on how they can participate. Mr. Hewlett, please.
Thank you, and through you, Mr. Chair. Both whether speaking in favor or opposition, the process will remain the same. And it should be noted for members of the public that public participation, if any, must be done through the Zoom meeting platform and cannot be done through YouTube at this time. The first option for members of the public who have joined us via phone line is you can press *9 to raise your hand, and that will let us know you would like to speak. Alternatively, you can press *9 again to lower your hand. The second option for members who have joined us using the online meeting platform on Zoom, you can either send a chat message to myself, Cody Hewlett, Corporate and Community Initiatives Officer, and either stating that you would like to speak or what you would like read onto the record for your behalf. Or you can raise your hand, typically located in the bottom right-hand corner of your screen by either a blue or yellow hand icon, depending on your device. Through you, Mr. Chair, just taking a quick review of everything, I am not seeing any members of the public wishing to speak at this time.
And I'm looking at my screen, I see no hands as well, and you received no correspondence and no chat alerts. All right, so that being said, we are going to move on then to 5.5, and that's the decision by the committee. What direction would the committee like to take with this application? And I do see Member Herger's hand followed by Member Hutchison. Member Herger, go ahead, please.
I would move that the Committee of Adjustment hereby approve minor variance application A01-2022 Boardman and Greer for the reasons set out in the planner's report.
Thank you, Member Herger. And Member Hutchinson, would you be seconding that recommendation?
Yes, I'll second that.
Thank you. Clerk Sharbeck, could you please read the recommendation?
Through you, Chair, the recommendation is that Committee of Adjustment hereby approve minor variance application A01-2022 Boardman and Greer for the reasons as set out in the planner's report.
Thank you, Clerk Sharbeck. Comments or questions from the committee members on the recommendation? Seeing none, we'll call the vote. All those in favor, you can raise your hand. And I do see all 5 members are in favor, none opposed. This motion is carried. Clerk Sharbeck, under 5.6, what are the next steps, please?
Through you, Chair, the next step for the applicant is following the 20-day appeal period. If no appeals are received, they're able to proceed with their building permit.
Thank you, Clerk Sharbeck. Okay, item number 6 on today's agenda is consent to sever application number B40 2021 and B41 2021 Lot 32 Concession 1 WGR Vision 1 and 2 Township of Normanby. 6.1 application number B40 2021 H by Construction Limited and Questa Planning Consultants Inc. Agents. 6.2 is application number B41 2021 H by Construction Limited and Questa Planning Agents as well. 6.3 is Planner Spencer's report. And Planner Spencer, if you could please read the recommendation for B40 2021, B41 2021, including written comments received for item 6.4, which would include 6.4.1 Enbridge Gas, 6.4.2 Saugeen Ojibwe Nation, and any other correspondence you have received. Planner Spencer, please.
Thank you, and through you, Mr. Chair. The recommendation for this file is that Committee of Adjustment receive Planner Spencer's report for files B40, 2021 and B41, 2021, and the recommendation that the application is provisionally approved subject to the following conditions: payment of any outstanding municipal taxes, if applicable, the payment of the $500 parkland dedication fee for each newly created parcel, payment of the zoning bylaw amendment application fee, passage of a zoning bylaw amendment, payment of the site plan application fee, payment of the entrance permit fees for each parcel, approval of entrance permits for each parcel, and finally, the registration of an approved site plan agreement on file to the subject lands. Comments were received from the County of Grey and the Saugeen Valley Conservation Authority, which were provided prior to or post publication of the agenda. There are no concerns relative to the applications other than ensuring that servicing is provided, which will be conducted and has been reviewed as part of the background documents that were provided by Questa Planning on behalf of the applicant. In addition, comments were also received from Enbridge Gas and Hydro One, both of which did not express concern with the application. There have been only one set of verbal comments received at this point in time from an adjacent landowner concerned that the drainage swales, ditches, so to speak, in proximity to the property may require some maintenance purposes, as they seem to be getting quite full when there is a large rainfall. Beyond that information, there has been no other verbal comments received or any inquiries in a written form. Planning staff are happy to provide further clarification at any point in time. Thank you.
Thank you, Planner Spencer. Could I get a mover to receive Planner Spencer's report, please? I do see Member Robinson, followed by Member Herger. Member Robinson, are you moving that to receive the report?
Yes.
Thank you. And Member Herger, are you seconding that? Okay, thank you. So, comments or questions on Planner Spencer's report? And Member Hutchinson, go ahead, please.
Just a point of clarification. I'm sort of curious why this is done in two applications. Like, it looks like to me, and maybe I don't understand it totally, but looks like to me it went from one parcel to two parcels, and then from two parcels to three parcels. So why are we doing that in two applications? Maybe Planner can explain that.
Planner Spencer.
Thank you, and through you, Mr. Chair. The Planning Act process through severance applications, consent applications, requires that one application is submitted for each lot creation. So in this case, the one large parcel was divided into the one small parcel, which created two lots. And then the retained lands from that first severance are now being split into two separate parcels to create three lots. And that's required to be completed under the Act in order to legally create the lots. Thank you.
Thank you. Follow up, Member Hutchinson?
No, I was just curious why we couldn't do that in one step rather than two steps, but anyways, that's fine. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. And I do see Member Townsend's hand up, followed by Member Herger. So go ahead, Member Townsend.
Through you to the Madam Planner, I'm wondering, you mentioned the services, and the report also talked about ensuring there's adequate fire protection. Should they be conditions also that have to be met demonstrating that is happening, or does the Questa report actually take care of that? Thank you.
Planner Spencer.
Thank you, and through you, Mr. Chair. So the actual application did have some servicing functionality report that was provided by Questa Planning. The tool under the Planning Act for the use of the site plan agreement will ensure that the matters pertaining to the servicing on the property are addressed as part of site plan approval, in addition to drainage on the property, in addition to fire protection as well. Thank you.
Thank you. That was my only question.
Okay, thank you, Member Townsend. Member Herger, go ahead, please.
Actually, that was my question as well. So thank you very much to the planner and Member Townsend there for asking.
Okay, thank you. Any other comments or questions from the committee members? Member Robinson, go ahead, please.
Thank you. Through you, Mr. Chair, and I really appreciate the detailed report, Planner Spencer. I just want to drill down again under the executive summary, please, when it speaks about just for clarity for this meeting, the subject lands do not currently have an identified municipal address, but are located on the west side of North Park Avenue in Mount Forest within the industrial park, and then it goes on. So I'm just, for clarity, this is a C of A for West Gray. And I'm wondering if you could just provide that information because of that sentence in there. I would very much appreciate it. Thanks.
Thank you. Planner Spencer, please.
Yes, thank you. And through you, Mr. Chair, although it is located in West Gray, it is an anomaly in the sense that it appears as though it's within Mount Forest, but it is definitely within the boundary of West Gray. It's one of the more unique designations under the county official plan, identified solely as industrial park, which is very site specific to this particular area, but is absolutely located within the geographic township of Normanby within West Gray. It's just it is misleading when it's referred to as Mount Forest. So my apologies for confusion. Thank you.
Go ahead, Mayor, Member Robinson.
Thanks. Just a supplementary to that. Thank you very much, Planner Spencer. It was just for clarity purposes that the lands are specifically located in West Gray. Thank you very much for the clarity.
Thank you. So we do have a motion on the floor to receive Planner Spencer's report, moved by Member Robinson, seconded by Member Hergert. Any comments or questions, or can we call the vote on that? Seeing none, all those in favor to receive the report, put your hand up, please. I see 5 members in favor, none opposed. That motion is carried. That'll move us on to 6.5, verbal comments. And committee members, this is your opportunity to ask any comments or questions, any further ones that if you may have them. Okay, seeing none, we will move on to, excuse me, 6.5.2, public comments. Again, I'm going to turn the application over to the public, and I will have Mr. Hewlett explain how the public can participate in this regarding anyone that would be in favor of the application or is opposed to the application. Mr. Hewlett, please. Mr. Hewlett, are you there, please?
If I may, Mr. Chair.
Absolutely. Go ahead, Planner Spencer. I would just wonder if he's disconnected somehow.
I think they're having technical difficulties. However, I will note that both the applicant and their agent are visible within the meeting, so they may request to have an opportunity to chat. I'm not sure if they've spoken with Genevieve regarding that or not, but I do see that they're here.
Okay, thank you, Planner Spencer. Well, I'll try to fill in as best as I can for Mr. Hewlett. Members of the public that are wishing to participate. Oh, there is Clerk Sharbeck, probably could help me with this. Clerk Sharbeck, go ahead, please.
Through you, Chair. I don't see anybody on their telephone joining us by phone. So if you've joined via Zoom, you can send a chat message to Cody in the chat box, stating that you would like to speak or you would like a message read on your behalf. Or you can raise your hand, usually located in the bottom right-hand corner of your screen with a blue or yellow hand icon. And if you see that, it's inside the reactions button if you would like to speak, and then the chair will go to you.
I do see one hand raised there. It's from Cuesta, so go ahead, please. And if you could just, for the record, just let us know who we're speaking to today. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. My name is Vaishan Mohantan, and I'm the Junior Land Use Planner for Cuesta Planning Consultants. Firstly, I'd like to thank Lauralee for reviewing the proposal and presenting her report. We have been retained by HBI Construction Limited to prepare and submit a zoning bylaw amendment and 2 consent to sever applications to permit the creation of 2 new industrial lots in the industrial park in the industrial business park area. The proposal aims to bolster future potential for dry industrial development and employment in the area by providing flexibility for a greater range of industrial uses. The proposed lots will be in keeping with the lot area provisions of the M1 industrial zone and will be of sufficient size to accommodate private servicing as per the submitted serviceability report. We have reviewed staff's report and are in agreement with the conditions. If anyone has any questions, I'm happy to answer. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there any other members of the public? Go ahead. I see your hand up there. Clerk Sharbeck, go ahead, please.
To you, Chair. If I could just ask Faishnan to please spell your last name for me for the minutes, that would be great.
MUHUNTAN. Sorry, I didn't hear you.
You are on mute there, Clerk Sharbeck.
Sorry about that. NUHUNTHAN.
Yeah, first letter is M. M as in Mandy.
Oh, thank you. Thanks so much for that.
Okay, thank you. And I do not see any other hands on the screen. Clerk Sharbeck, if I could just call on you just to double check that for me, as being as Mr.
I don't see anything either there or in the chat either.
Okay, thank you. So that'll take us to 6.6, and that is the decision. What direction would the committee members like to take with this application? I do see Member Hergert. Go ahead, Member Hergert.
Yes, I would move that the Committee of Adjustments hereby approve the severance B40 2021 and B41 2021 and the recommendations provided by the planner.
Thank you, Member Hergert. And I did see Member Hutchinson's hand. Were you going to second that, Member Hutchinson?
Yes, I'll second that.
Thank you. Clerk Sharbeck, could you read the recommendation, please?
To you, Chair. Moved by Member Hergert and seconded by Member Doug Hutchinson. The Committee of Adjustment does hereby approve consent to sever application number B40-2021 and B41-2021 by Construction Limited and Questa Planning Consultants, Inc. for the reasons and subject to the conditions as set out in the planner's report.
Thank you, Clerk Sharbeck. Comments or questions from the committee members? And I do see Member Robinson. Go ahead, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And I do note that in Planner Spencer's report, through her recommendation, she's suggesting provisional approval. And I'm just wondering what is the difference between provisional approval and approval? Just wanting that clarification prior to voting, and if it is necessary, perhaps for an amendment. Just thinking these comments through. Thank you very much.
Planner Spencer or Clerk Sharbeck?
I can answer that, Mr. Chair, if I may. Provisional approval is given to all consent applications. Final approval isn't granted until the deeds are stamped. So any application for consent in the form of provisional approval is the approval until the deeds are stamped at that point in time, which can't happen until these conditions of provisional approval have been satisfied.
Follow up, Member Robinson?
Nope, that's fine. Thank you very much.
Okay, and thank you for the clarity on that, Planner Spencer. Any other comments or questions on the recommendation? No, seeing none, so we'll call the vote. All those in favor of this motion to oh, there we go. I see all 5 members are in favor. None opposed. That motion has carried. Item 6.7, Clerk Sharbeck, what are the next steps, please?
Through you, Chair. As set out in the planner's report, with the approval, the provisional approval of these 2 consent applications, the notice of passing will be provided, and that begins the appeal period. If no appeals are received in the 20-day appeal period, the applicant can proceed to satisfy the conditions of the consent within the defined time period under the Planning Act.
Thank you, Clerk Sharbeck. All right, so we are on to item number 7, and that's the next meeting. That is scheduled for Monday, March the 14th, 2022 at 1 p.m. And again, at this time, I believe that will be via Zoom. And moving right along to item number 8 is adjournment. And I would be looking for a mover to adjourn, please. And I do see Member Townsend's hand up. Are you moving that motion?
Yeah, motion, Chair.
Thank you. And I did see Member Hergert's hand. You'd be seconding that, Member Hergert? Okay, thank you. I didn't see you there. That's fine. I don't think there's going to be any comments or questions on the motion to adjourn. So if I can have everyone raise their hand. And I see 5 members are in favor of adjourning. And that would mean that we are adjourned. And I see 1:33 on my clock here. We are adjourned. Everyone have a great afternoon.